Hey creative soul, that feeling of being lost, the ache that you feel when you look at your abandoned creative dreams, I see you. And I want you to know something profound, that this isn't just about returning to creativity. This is about uncovering who you deeply, authentically are, beyond the shoulds and must-dos that have taken you away from your creative heart. Today, we're embarking on a journey that's much deeper than making art. We're going to explore the sacred path back to your authentic creative self. So who's this video for? Well, I assume if you've clicked on this video that you identify as creative and you're feeling lost. Okay, but I think it's more than that. I think you've already been on an exploration around this. You've watched those other titles that are like 5 tips to get your creative mojo back. And you've probably done some internal work around this as well. You've tried to kickstart your creativity. You've done some work, but now you're looking for something deeper. Okay, this isn't a quick fix video. This is the start of a journey, and journeys can take time. So this is something that you need to sign up to and commit to. If this video is for you, let's have a little look at where you're at. What's your current state? I think it's important to recognize that creative disconnection is often a spiritual wake-up call. A wake-up call to something important, something deeper, something that's not connected, that's not working. You can understand that feeling of being lost as an invitation to transformation, to transform how you spend your time, your energy, your money, where your focus goes. I think it's important to acknowledge that there's a deeper yearning beneath what could just look like surface level creative block. It's much more than that. So why would you watch my video? Well, I'm Rowley, and I'm a creative guide based in Dublin, and I've helped tons of people who have had a disconnection between their creativity, their values, and how they're living their lives. And we've helped to journey through how they can get back to a place of being deeper connected to that in a transformative way that have meant that they're living truer to who they really are. And as a guide, I promise to create a safe space for your creative rebirth. And I'm here to remind you that you have an innate wisdom. You have everything that you need already for this adventure. And while this is just one video, I promise to keep making more content and videos for you to be able to journey and figure out how to move forward. To give you some practical tools for your personal and spiritual and creative exploration. So let's talk a little bit about this transformation journey. And just a caveat that you could be anywhere along the continuum of this journey. You might not be totally stuck. You might be in a loop. You might be looping back over and over and trying to figure it out. So any of these steps might be helpful for you now, but they might be helpful for you to come back to in the future. And that's okay. Just remember that this video is going to be here as a resource for you. So to get started, I think it's really helpful to think about a sacred pause and making presence, making space. And if you've watched any of my videos before, you'll know that I'm all about turning down the digital noise. Getting away from our screens, getting away from our phones, getting analog. And even if getting out a pen and a notebook right now might be helpful to start taking down some notes and exploring what's coming up for you. When we're able to get away from the doom scroll and the constant news feed, the series and ever-ending flow of information that's coming towards us, we can start to make space for deep listening. Listening to what our heart's telling us, what our body's telling us, what our spirit's saying, and starting to figure out a way forward to engage with that and move into something true to yourself. When we have those spaces, we can go for a walk in the forest without our phones, without a podcast on, and actually reconnect to your creative intuition. It's a super important part to get started. And the second phase is going to be shadow work and integrating that back into you. Understanding and exploring the creative wounds that may have come up. It could be that a teacher said something to you in school, or a parent or a sibling said something that crushed your creative identity and made you question what you do. It's important to dig in and think about where is resistance in your process, what that looks like, where you're finding things that are causing you to stop, and to maybe flip those upside down. Try to do something completely different. Maybe you're thinking about it all wrong. And remember that creative blocks can seem like a big wall, but you're a creative. Let's just turn that into a doorway. Let's turn it into a way to reframe something or rethink something, or to try doing it backwards. Try doing little parts of it. Try doing big parts of it. Try ignoring that section of your project and go do something else till you get a little momentum up. Phase 3 is really about finding an authentic expression for who you are. And that'll involve connecting back to your unique creative voice. This isn't about imitating people. And that can be helpful if you're learning a skill or a tool or a technique, but imitation will only get you so far. You have to, at some point, transform that into your own creative voice, your own way of exploring something and saying something through the medium that you work in. One of the things that I dislike about Instagram is that it's often called the comparison engine. And all the time, it's very easy to compare our lives, our art, our choices against people who have this picture perfect, edited, wonderful version of themselves that they're putting out for social media. And it's hard not to compare, and it's hard not to think I'm not there or I haven't gotten that far. But it's not helpful for your growth. So part of that digital detox and putting your phone down and not looking at that is actually going to allow space for you to be okay with yourself and okay with your progress, because you're being true to you. And the only person we can really compare ourselves is to us yesterday or us a year ago. And hopefully at some point you'll be able to honor that and say, I am making progress. I am moving forward on your own path, because everyone's path is different, and that's okay. And also everyone's path is imperfect. There's no straight line to growth. Nothing that we create is ever perfect. It might be unfinished. It might be great, but you'll always want to edit and come back to it. But at some point we just have to draw a line and go, this is it, because there's more inside me building up and I need to move on and I need to go and create the next step. Okay, on to the fourth phase. This is all about practical magic. So you need to establish some sacred creative rituals. This is carving out time and space for you. This is finding 30 minutes in an afternoon or an evening, or getting up early and finding that quiet to think and to process, to pick up your tools and to try. And to be gracious with yourself, to be free to play, free to explore, and that's okay. And also to build like sustainability into it. It's much easier to try and find 15 minutes and block that out of your day than promise that you're going to do 2 hours or 4 hours like some other time, because that might never happen. So add up all of those 15 minutes that do happen versus the mythical half day or week-long retreat, and find ways to integrate creativity into your life. So if you're not scrolling on your phone all the time, maybe you can pull out a notebook and write down some ideas. Maybe you can start sketching. Maybe you can start thinking through different things, listening to the words or phrases that people have said and jot those down. And whether that could feed into a story you're writing, a song that you're going to produce, or maybe it's just creative food for thought for later on. And it's just a way of firing the neurons in your head to trigger, because when we write down, something different happens in our head. And it's just amazing to start to feel the creativity buzz back into life and feel connected and created to that. And most of all, be kind to yourself as you do this journey, as kind as you possibly can. You'll know you're making progress when you start to feel things emerging from your transformation, emerging from your work, emerging from the depth of this. Maybe you'll step into creative leadership, and that could be inspiring and organizing other creatives in your area, whether that's online or actually physically in person, whether that's connecting and leading groups, whether that's like having the courage to put your work out there for critique, for others to see. You'll start to embrace your role as a creative. You might even start using those terms. I'm a musician, a photographer, a writer. Whatever it is, you might use them to describe yourself. That just shows a real connection to it. I think it's important to live authentically connected to your creativity. So whatever that looks and engages like. And then we can engage in the evolution of our art. Like, how do we get to the next phase or the next step? What does inviting others in look like? What does public performances look like? Whatever that might be, whatever scares you, when you get there, you'll be ready. And of course, aside from creativity, there's personal, professional, and spiritual transformations and awakenings that can happen as part of this journey. We are one unit. We can't tease those apart and put them in a little box safely, comfortably on the shelf. All these things happen together, and so many times I've seen people making those connections and something different and wild emerges at the other end. And it's beautiful. And just a couple of warnings at the end. It's really important to focus on your transformation over taking in more information and more ideas. Just trust the process and trust what you can get involved in. Remember, this is about depth. This isn't about just things on the surface. This isn't about which pen you use or like what tool you have on hand. Use what you have. Don't waste time in trying to second guess that. And this is an integration of spiritual and practical. So allow space for you to think and dream. Go to that yoga class you've been promising yourself. Get uncomfortable and go and jump in the sea. Remember to get out for a walk or a run and get connected to nature and connected back to your body. Remember, this is not about performance or productivity. It's about authenticity and presence to yourself and honoring your creativity. And one last warning. This might be a red pill, blue pill moment, because this rabbit hole can go very deep. And as I promised, I'm a guide, and I'll be here to help you in whatever way I can. Okay, I can't wait to hear what you get up to. Until the next one, bye.